Dr. Temple Grandin, the voice of autism and advocate for humane treatment of livestock animals. How did she get here, speaking all over North America and designing incredible livestock facilities from being a speechless 3-year-old that had seemingly random temper tantrums and hated hugs?
Traits. When does a nerd turn into, Asperger, which is just mild autism? I mean, Einstein and Mozart and Tesla would all be probably diagnosed as autistic spectrum today.
Dr. Temple Grandin isn't a very well-known person to most people, but she's a major influencer in the lives of livestock animals and other people with autism. She's broken through autism barriers and gender barriers in her work and has committed her life to the livestock industry and designing safe and humane slaughterhouses. Dr. Temple Grandin is an autistic designer of livestock handling facilities, humane slaughterhouses, and renowned public speaker on the autistic mind. She was the subject of the HBO movie Temple Grandin, in which Dr. Grandin has stated is a very accurate description of her life and how she experiences the world we all live in.
Nicely in the movie. In fact, I loved the movie how they duplicated all my projects. That's the geek side. My drawings got the star in the movie too.
Temple was born on August 29, 1947. Her parents, Richard and Eustacia Grandin, had no concerns about their daughter, but at age 2, she still hadn't spoken, so her mother took her to the doctor. The doctor explained Temple had autism, which at the time was considered a form of brain damage. The doctors advised Temple's mother to put her in a mental institution and move on with her life, but Temple's mother refused. Temple's mother instead personally gave Temple early intervention and intensive speech therapy. This is one of the greatest points in Temple's speaking engagements, and she can't express enough gratitude for her past speech therapy.
I can remember the frustration of not being able to talk. I couldn't get my words out. My speech came in gradually, a few words at a time. When I was a little kid, I was very autistic, nonverbal, rocking. That's the kind of kid they just put away in the institution. But I had a speech teacher that worked really hard with me, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of young children getting early intervention. You got a 2-year-old or 3-year-old with no speech, don't wait.
Dr. Grandin is a readily sought-after speaker in both the realms of livestock handling and her insight to parents and educators about autism. Temple began to speak at the age of 4, so her parents found her the best schools they could. Many years later, she received a degree in psychology from Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire, a master's in animal science from Arizona State University, and a doctorate in animal science from the University of Illinois. Before her time in college, she worked at her aunt's farm over the summer. Temple's aunt helped her to understand animals, but Temple was extremely interested in the squeeze machine that the cowboys used to calm the cows down while they were vaccinating them. One day, Temple had a breakdown at her aunt's farm and ran to the squeeze machine.
Temple, let's get you out of here. Don't be silly.
Close the sides. Close the sides. Harder! More!
This squeeze machine helped her so much that she built one for herself in college. She did an experiment to show how it helped her and how it could help other people. They are now called hug machines and are licensed for purchase through a company called Therafin. Autism was a huge part of Temple Grandin's life and helped her advance in her career. Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, is a spectrum of conditions, including social challenges, repetitive behaviors, and speech or nonverbal communication. People with autism have issues expressing themselves and communicating. They They might encounter changes with learning, and their skills might develop unevenly. The autism spectrum includes Asperger's syndrome, autism, childhood disintegrative disorder, and pervasive developmental disorder. They are all different but have some common traits that combine them into the autism spectrum. Traits or symptoms of autism include lack of eye contact, narrow range of interest or intense interest in certain topics or objects, high sense sensitivity, not wanting to be touched, trouble adapting to routine changes, talking in a sing-song, flat or robotic voice, and repetitive calming motions like rocking or turning.
I am not familiar with the Rimley report.
Calm down, sweetie. Sweetie, calm down.
It would be better if you could get her to sit calmly. You're trying to control her.
But we were told self-stimming is good. It eventually calms them.
Self-stimming has self-comforting.
Self-stimulation, rocking, spinning, rolling on the floor, flapping.
I think spinning is good. And rolling, too. Self-stimulation does seem to eventually calm the nervous system. It can be a way to compensate for not being held. And being held by another person is scary, but rolling or being held by surfaces produces the calming effect that ordinary children get from a hug.
How old's your child?
Well, I don't have children. No, I'm autistic. And I need...
Dr. Grandin asserts that the autistic brain is very similar to a cow's brain, and that's how she excelled so well in the livestock industry.
Somebody that cares is somebody that cares. It doesn't really matter if they're from Mars or not. I think agriculture judges people on what they stand for, not maybe what they say. Temple stands for the right stuff.
She states that because she can relate to how cows think, she can design structures in slaughterhouses and livestock facilities that will cause them no fear and no pain. Dr. Grandin says they both think in pictures, which makes it so easy for her to do her job. Dr. Grandin describes that her brain is like a computer. It stores information and pictures in files in her brain. Those files are accessible to her at any time, and certain things trigger memories, the good and the bad. Animals don't forget memories either, especially the bad ones. Livestock animals are prey animals. They experience the world through their senses or sensory-based thinking, just like how people with autism think. Dr. Grandin's autistic brain can predict how livestock will respond in certain sensory environments, such as areas with loud noises, shimmering lights, and waving or fast-moving objects. Dr. Grandin's facilities are designed to eliminate stressful or scary situations. Temple today has had many speaking engagements. She speaks about autism.
Autism has reached epidemic proportions. So on behalf of all the parents like myself who have a child with autism, Temple Grandin, you are our hero, and Eustacia Cutler.
Animals.
Well, when I first started out, I was in the cattle industry. It was in the 70s.
And her past.
The next generation is going to be quantum computing. And I never could pass algebra.
She had a book signing and a presentation on December 3rd. I met her and I learned so much about her and how autism had affected many people, and was able to see her positive outlook on the benefits she sees on her autistic brain, and how it wasn't at all a burden to her. It was a help.
What I want to do is just thank everybody for coming. Thank you for coming. Okay.
It has allowed her to become a successful career woman and in a very unusual field of work. She has designed and created hundreds of materials for livestock handling and slaughterhouses. She makes them humane and takes great pride in her designs so they do not scare the animals. They work so well that over half the livestock animals in North America are handled in facilities designed by her. Her name is Temple Grandin.
I'm Temple Grandin.